Welcome to another installment of 1001 Bookish Things, and in this here video I will be going through all the August titles, August roundup of some of the books, some of the short stories that I read. So stick around and see exactly what it is that I got up to book-wise. And I'm holding my key cards again because I want to be like cool like Fat Joe. So let's hit it. Okay, so I just quickly want to run through all the short stories and books that I read. And the books, I read two. I read in August. Just remember, this is the August roundup video. I read Recoil by Joanne McGregor. And I also read a book called Check Out, A Life on the Tills by a French author called Anna Sam. And for the short stories, I read four. I read four short stories. I read Flight, Akusoa's Rage, Finger, and Mommy. So, but we'll go through all of that as the video progresses. And just to let you know that my blogging partner in crime / my sister, she read a book called Submerged by a South African author called Louis Wood. So go check that out on the blog. It's up there. And she also read The Yearning, which I also read, and I passed it on to her because she just absolutely had to read it, by another South African author, Mohale Mashigo, sorry. And debut author, amazing. Go get a book, The Yearning. And Pumzile and I will actually make a video about it where we'll talk about it in greater detail. So stick around for that video as well. Okay, so I just want to go through the books first that I read. The first one is Recoil, and it's the first book in a trilogy. It's the Recoil trilogy, and it's a young adult dystopian romance. Okay, so this isn't really kind of the genre that I usually read, so I kind of jumped into it with a little bit of hesitation, but once I actually kind of got into it and I started reading, I actually couldn't put it down. So thank you, Joanne McGregor, for this book. And you can actually check her out on joannemcgregor.com. It's her website, and she has a list of all the other books she's so if you just want to get to know a little bit more about the author, go check out her website. So Joanne McGregor, she's a counseling psychologist in private practice, and she deals mainly with the victims of crime and trauma. She started out as a high school English teacher, and if you want to know what else she's done, she's had quite an interesting couple of kind of jobs and spaces that she's been in. So go check out her website if you want to know more about her. But so Recoil, if I can just read a little snippet of the blurb. So when a skilled gamer gets recruited as a sniper in the war against a terror-produced pandemic, she discovers that there's more than one enemy and more than one war, and love may be the only thing worth fighting for, and the game is real. So when the US gets attacked by a plague that to keep everyone indoors, a mysterious company starts producing a online game called The Game. And basically, it's a way for them to recruit snipers, code breakers, intel cadets to help them fight this war against terrorist forces. So the book unravels exactly what it is we should be questioning, what exactly we shouldn't take for granted. Everything isn't always as it seems. But there's bonus material at the end of book one, so it's quite nice to kind of tease us into getting book two. And I'm currently reading the second book, which is Refuse. So, and that's kind of keeping me at the edge of my seat. If you follow me on Twitter at Babo Zulu, you will know that every time I read a chapter, I tweet Joanne McGregor, and it's just now I'm going to fall on the floor because I'm just like, there's no more space at the edge of the seat. But it's really good books. Her writing is spot on. As you read, you kind of peel away the political layers in her books as well, which is it's interesting to see what exactly it is we sometimes take for granted. And also you can check out her author interview. We interviewed her, we had an email interview with her in August as well. So because we just wanted to kind of get to her motivations for writing this book, etc. So check that out as well. The second book is a book called Checkout, A Life on the Tills, and it's by a French author called Anna Sam. And her reasons for writing this book is basically she was a checkout girl while she was studying towards a university degree. And when she finished her studies, she unfortunately just couldn't find employment anywhere. So she carried on working at supermarkets, and she did this for 8 years. So for 8 years, she was a checkout girl. And obviously then she built up all these experiences, all these memories, the funny moments, the funny customers, the crazy customers. And she condensed it all into a book. It's funny, it's scathing, I mean, we've all been customers in a supermarket, so you may see yourself in one of the characters that she brings up. But I just want to let you know a little bit more about Anna Sam. She, if you can follow her on Twitter at Anna_Sam, and her Twitter bio describes herself as a mom, a blogger, a columnist, an author, a speaker, and she's also passionate about comics, which is pretty cool. And this is what she writes as a blurb at the back of the book. She says, "Can you scan 800 barcodes an hour? Can you smile and say thank you 500 times a day? Do you never need to go to the toilet? Then working on a supermarket checkout could be just the job for you." And essentially you're dealing with human beings and human nature and all its intricacies, and it's such a universal topic. I think it's I mean, she's a French author, but it really is appealing to everyone around the world. And by the way, I read the translated version. I cannot speak French to save anyone's life. I just laughed so much in this book, especially when she spoke about kind of the regular crazy customers that she would get. You know, you're going to be mortified by what checkout personnel actually have to deal with. And I'm sure you've been a rude customer. Yes, you. So read this book and see how rude you actually are. So that was Checkout, A Life on the Tills. If you decide to pick it up, enjoy. Let me know exactly which customers you found hilarious. Okay. So now I'm on to the short stories. The first one I read was a story called Flight by a Nigerian author called Tope Owolabi. Tope is Tope. Her surname Owolabi is Owolabi, in case you want to just check her out. And she also has her own blog called eclectictope.com, and you'll find her there. Okay, so this short story, just to quickly sum it up, is about two women on a flight, on a domestic flight, and one of them is an experienced flyer. She flies frequently, and the second woman, she's a first time on a flight. She's never been on a flight before. So we have experienced and non-experienced, and basically it's just a story about how do we navigate new spaces, how do we negotiate new things, unfamiliar territory. And there's a part at the end of the story where you just go, I can't believe she did that, word. But that's us looking at someone who is a first timer at something. And I think it's you know, the story just reminds us to be a little bit sympathetic, and to remind us to be sympathetic towards different spaces, different people. You never know what people's journeys are. So the story I personally found was a great reminder of that. So go onto the AfReader website. This is where you can find the story on AfReader, and it's called Flight. The second one is I love it, and it was perfect in August, in Women's Month. This story, it's called Akusowa's Rage, and I really hope I'm saying her name properly. It's Akosua, Akusowa's Rage. She just reminds me of a female warrior man. But anyways, it's by a Ghanaian author called Daniel Hansen Dza. Dza as in D-Z-A-H. And I also hope I'm saying the surname right. Okay, so men dominate the first part of the story. Akusowa's husband, Kweku, is getting a little bit concerned that his wife is not bearing him children. So he goes and he calls a priest in the area to come and just have a look and perform whatever he needs to perform to get Akusowa to fall pregnant. So he's now ashamed that his wife cannot bear any children. Okay, so this is the first part of the story. Then it turns around though, with Akusoy getting her own back. Yeah. And she puts the men in her place with a bloody hunting gun. Yeah. So something happens in the story, and I'm not one to give things away, so I'm just going to say that something happens in the story. And she gets a little bit sick and tired, so she goes into the hut and she gets this hunting gun, and she says, right, enough is enough. Undo whatever you just did, because I'm not going to be part of it. She's unapologetic. She finds her voice and she puts her foot down. But it's also important to remember the story is playful. It has a playful side to it, where in the end, it's just a celebration of love, a celebration of a couple who may have their ups and downs, may not be able to bear children at this point in time in their marriage, but they're just going to live their life and be happy together. So read this one, Akuso's Rage. It's, it's one for the books. Okay, and the next story is Finger, some speculative fiction by Bernard Dayo. I really hope I'm saying his surname correctly. You can also find him on Twitter at Bernard Dayo, Dayo. So I just want to focus on the story's namesake here, Finger. So there's an incident where Auntie Rhoda cuts her finger off. She's busy chopping onion, I think it is, chopping, and then she cuts her finger off. And it's what happens next that you won't believe. I'll kind of leave it hanging there about what exactly happens afterwards, after she's cut her finger off. Because I really don't want to tell you. I want you to read the story for yourself. But this story, it picks up on multiple threads, and then it leaves it up to the reader to explore and nitpick. And that's always fun, because you walk away with your own conclusions, and it's quite actually generous of the author to, I mean, it is speculative fiction, so you're left thinking, like, what? Auntie Rhoda? I want to know more about you. And Auntie Rhoda is also, I mean, you'll read more about her in the story, but she's been married and divorced several times. She's starting to, people are starting to talk about her and her strange ways, but she's Auntie Rhoda, and make up your own mind about the incident of the finger and it being chopped off. And the last story is Mami by Chidozie Dike. I love his name, Chidozie Dike. Can rap about it. So anyway, he's a Nigerian author, and he also has a blog called dikechidozie.wordpress.com. So let me spell out his name. Chiedozie, Chidozie, and his surname is Dike, Dike, sorry. Check him out. So there's a specific quote that I pulled out of the story, and it happens kind of towards the end, and for me it's really poignant. It really, I wouldn't say sum up the story, but it gives you some sort of indication about what the story is about. It's kind of some of the struggles that Mami, one of the characters in the story, has to deal with. So this what I'm about to read is said by Mami's stepchild. So she says, I want to ask her if it would be painless if I would just close my eyes and wake up in the land of the disembodied. I'll leave that hanging as well, because it could mean so many different things to you. But it's about a bold step taken by a mother, exploring relationships, survival, strength, and the very fine line between right and wrong. Who are we to judge what is right, what is wrong? My right could be your wrong, vice versa. It's about a step taken by a mother, and whether we judge her or not, whether we like what she did or not, it is what she did. It is the decision that she took. They ran away from somewhere, and they went to the city. I won't say where and what the history behind them leaving is. You'll find that out in the story. But they flee and they go to the city to try and make a better life for themselves, to try build something. And life is life. Life happens. It isn't always a happy ending. So I really hope that you engage with the story and ask yourself a few questions afterwards. Isn't that what art and literature is about? To interrogate certain topics, certain going-ons in life, and I really hope that you're able to do that from the story. So coming up in September is I mean, they're all up on the blog. Dutch Courage is one of the books by Paige Nick. Me Before You, which Pumzila was reading, by Jojo Moyes. Plumeria by Zanele Dlamini. Refused by Joanne McGregor, and also another couple of short stories from the Afrida website. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in to 1001 Bookish Things. It's always amazing to let you know what books we have read and what we recommend and all those amazing things. But I've just realized that I did not tell you what my book of the month is, and it has to be Recoil. Thank you, Joanne. You've opened my eyes up to a new genre, and the way you write in this genre just makes me want to read more in this genre. So Recoil, thank you very much for that. I mean, it is set in the US, but the themes and the characters are very much universal. You can make certain extrapolations so they can align with what's going on in South Africa. So that's I mean, politics is a universal thing. A situation like this can happen in any country at a given point. So it wasn't a deterrent that it wasn't set in South Africa. So thank you very much, Anne. That is my book of the month. See you next time. Bye bye.